In a world full of movie podcasts, here is one more. Welcome to Defend Your Movie with Sean Donnelly.
The time has come again. The champion must stand. It can only be one of us. Victorious. So stand up and fight, my friend. There's a title you must defend. Shut it on, bring it to me. Defend your movie.
Hello there, everybody, and welcome to another edition of Defend Your Movie. I am your host, Sean Donnelly. As always, I am joined by my super great, super terrific co-host, Farah Brooke. Farah, how are you?
Oh, I'm doing so well, Sean. I'm so happy to be here. Thank you for having me.
Oh, no problem. You're here every week. We get so excited when you're here. It's
I know,
really
it's just an absolute joy.
I'd like to introduce our guest so you can join on the conversation. He's my buddy. You know him from the J Train podcast. Also, is it called the Betches podcast? What is it called again, the other one?
The You Up podcast.
The You Up podcast. He's hilarious. I've known him for years. Jared Freid, ladies and gentlemen. Yay!
What up?
The studio audience is roaring.
Yeah, I like doing it that way.
Farah, Sean, a pleasure to be here. Thank you. Totes Preach.
Jared
Let's get
talks
it going. Let's
like
talk
he's
movies.
like he's a 14-year-old girl.
Totes breathe everything on perp, bro.
Totes abbreviate everything on perp. You should just, every word of that sentence should have been abbreviated.
It is. Totes abbreviate everything.
Oh!
Thing is the one that I can't get.
I'm
my
trying
Everest.
to start a new one. My new thing is I want to start words.
You want to start words?
Yeah.
Well, did you come up with any? Do you have one? Do you want to?
Well, there's
Merriam-Webster's in
one
the
term
house.
I'm trying to push right now. It's blooming, and things can be bloomy.
Like blooming onions? Well, bloomy
No,
sounds...
like blooming.
And what does it mean?
Is it the same
And,
as
and it's
booming?
like, oh, she's bloomy as fuck.
And does that mean like shady as fuck?
No, like she's blooming. Like she's getting successful. She's doing her shit.
I kind of like that, actually.
Her career is blooming. She's blooming as a
Very
person.
very bloomy opportunity.
That's what you normally would say. She's bloomy. Bloomy would be the word that you're
bloom.
starting. Because blooming's already a word. Bloomy is not a word.
That could get confusing. I'd be like, oh, that girl's about to blue me.
Yeah, I mean, I guess it sounds...
Yeah, it sounds a little bit.
Well, whatever. I'm going to
Sounds
come up
hot.
with other things, too. I'm going to infiltrate society and culture with
In my
new
fraternity, we
terminology.
were breathing so hard that we were like literally just saying, like it just sounded like we were like babies making noises. Like we were.
Wait, that's how long this has been going on for?
Oh my god! Yeah, my fraternity it was Sintokra was Cinnamon Toast Crunch, and then it became CTC, and then we were just like, and people were like, we don't know what you're saying.
Is it like...
We've been doing it forever.
People just
yeah.
be having a stroke after a while.
Is he
Like, oh my god,
stroking, or is
he's
he
epileptic. He's on the
yeah.
floor. He's like, I just want a beer. I just want a Heine. Heine! And I just...
I were drinking Heineken.
Family talk. My whole family right now, trending in the Brooke family is saying B. And they say B, 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 B.
B to
B,
what?
B, the letter B.
Like, what up, B?
But it's like, now it's just like B, B, B. Like, everyone's just saying B all the time.
But
So what
what's
is the
the
meaning?
I'll be there soon, B. I'll be there this, B. Okay,
Oh, like,
B.
what up, B? Like,
I guess.
It's got to be what it is.
I don't know. It's usually my sisters that come up with this stuff, and
I
then
love family
it
language
catches
stuff.
on to me and my mom when it really has been around a long time.
My aunt used to have a boyfriend, and he used to always he would get into the meats. Like, you know, he was Italian, so he'd be like, the gabagoo.
Oh, The Sopranos.
And, yeah, he would but he would say the meats in such a way that, like, we would always make fun of him because he would overdo it.
Yeah,
you know,
somebody
like,
has that bit.
The
Robert Kelly.
Oh, yeah, they had, so he used to do this all the time, so we used to just go, and instead of, like, gotta go, we turned it into, we would call the meats gabagoo. And then now, instead of goodbye, we just go gabagoo. Like, the evolution of that is so weird. It makes no sense to anyone else.
I get it.
Gabagoo.
Inside family joke.
It's so inside.
My family, look, I'm not saying we invented okra thing. I'm not
The
saying
what?
that. I'm not going to do it, whatever. That's not what I'm saying. But I am
Do
saying
what?
before the Kardashians started saying okra,
Wait a
is
minute.
that?
Why are you doing the Spanish R at the end of it? I always thought it was occur.
it's okra. That's what it really
Isn't that
is.
Cardi B?
That's what it is?
That's
so
what it really
confused
is.
right now.
But
I thought it was
my
just the way Cardi B
family-
says it's okay.
No, and it has like origins, like, you know, I don't know, but I'm just saying my family said "oh current" for like 5 years.
Oh, current?
Yeah, like we were saying "oh current, oh current, oh current, oh current," and like then all of a sudden the Kardashians were like "oh cur," and then
Okay.
it became. But it started.
I've never heard the tongue roll added
That's
onto
how
it.
Cardi does it.
Oh, she does?
Yeah,
But not the Kardashian.
but like no one wants to hear me do it. But
And what does it mean?
it's family abbreviation. I don't know, you know, the original
But when you say it,
meaning where it
what's
comes
your
from
family
Cardi.
saying it in?
Well, basically, it started that my sister's roommate in college, her last name was Okrent.
Okay.
And so they started saying Okrent, probably instead of okay.
Yeah.
And then, like, it became like Krent. And then I was like, I would always say, oh, Karen, because I wasn't in on the joke. But then it became Karen.
Oh, wow.
So the whole
It's a
family
long way
had
to go.
this like family fun joke, and you were like, "I'm not in on it. I'm
Well,
just gonna start my own
it doesn't
thing."
get to me until like a year later, usually.
You're like, "Wait, what's going on?"
I'm like,
Farrah's
all
just
right,
high
I'm
for
just
you.
starting Breaking Bad. I don't understand the jokes.
I'm like, sure, okay.
We also do this one thing in my family. We go to get someone's attention. And it's interesting because we'll do like the horse click. And to get someone's attention. So I'll know it's like my mom or dad or my brother. I'll know it's
hear
them.
that.
But then I'll like get in relationships with girls and I'll do it to them to like get their attention. And it's a term of endearment, but it sounds like the most horrendous thing you could ever do.
Yeah.
at
Absolutely
someone.
not.
But it's really like it all in intent wise.
At least you don't take it to another level with girls where you're like,
I have a carrot in my
I mean,
hand.
that's
No,
pretty
yeah.
bad. It's pretty bad.
come on, horsey.
Like,
But
if
it-
someone did that to me, I'd be like, excuse me.
But if you think of it, if you like break it down to my intent,
Sure,
it's
sure.
actually the most I'm bringing you into I'm considering you of family if I do it to you.
Yeah, but they don't know that when you're just doing it.
Yeah.
Well, then I explain it, and they're like, "Yeah, I don't know if I can get over that."
Yeah.
They're like,
It's not
no,
inside
please
joke to them.
stop.
In my family, the abbreviation thing we have is my sister's name. My little sister's name is Erin, and we call her Er, but she hates it.
She hates it.
So if you call her Er, she'll call you back your name like you called her Er. So I'll be like, Er, do you want to go to the store? And she'll be like, I don't know, sure. Like she goes mad.
Air gets so pissed.
Erin gets so mad.
I love that over the years she hasn't come up with one different way to show you guys that it's annoying.
And my sister, she teaches special ed. The other thing that's really funny is they do a thing in my family called "Don't Do It, Donnelly." My sister will say, "Don't." My mom will say, "Don't do it, Donnelly," because there was a story once. There's a little girl the little girl that was in her class that if she acted up, she would have to be put in the other room with like an assistant teacher,
Sure.
or whatever it was, right, just to be separated from the class. And then one day she acted up and she knew it was coming. And then my sister was the teacher, and her last name's Donnelly. And I don't know, the little girl just goes, "Don't do it, Donnelly! Don't do it, Donnelly!" And my sister just started laughing.
This brings her back. And that's the best when the teacher breaks.
Oh, yeah,
like,
exactly.
And it's like she did something. The
well-
class doesn't have to know what it is.
Yeah, exactly.
But they're like, got her, bitch.
Yeah.
Teacher laughs.
So we are here today on the Defend Your Movie podcast. Jared Freid, he's a movie fan. We're here with Farah Brooke and her weirdo family traditions that they model
We
after the
gotta delete
Kardashians.
one of those.
Why? You son of a bitch! Really? All right, Alex,
one of
right
them.
here. We had to delete one.
Oh,
of
no,
them.
not that.
Oh, okay,
I'll
okay.
tell him later.
Okay, cool. Anyway, so I wanted to have you in, Jared. It's hard. It's becoming harder and harder for people to pick out actual movies they want to defend. I'm realizing that as we go. So I'm trying to make the topics of the shows more interesting as we go. So
Like defend a subject. I think I'm here to defend.
you're here to defend the subject, and also we're gonna figure out the best elements that make the best version of that subject of movie.
Okay.
And there's a reason why we're doing it. We're doing and I think it's funny to have you come in and do this because we're gonna do what makes the best rom-com.
Love a rom-com.
Love a rom-com.
Love
rom-com.
it.
I actually like some rom-coms here and there. Not
Well,
all
the
of
best
them.
part about rom-coms is even when they're bad, they're good. Like even when
See,
like
I don't agree with
the
that.
like when
This
they
is why I'm
over
like, we
device.
should have done Defending the Bachelor.
No.
We could do
We
that.
could defend it hard.
No, that's not a movie.
I mean, I could defend The Bachelor all day long.
Me too.
I could defend a lot of
that's
things.
not a rom-com. That's
But-
a TV
well,
show.
the way he just said reminded me of it. Like, as bad as it is, it's still good.
Well, on your Instagram, and I think as part of your podcast, oh, maybe not as part
Just
of
on
your podcast,
just the Instagram. I'm doing
You do
dudes
it-
watching rom-coms.
which
and
is
I've
actually
done-
the original idea for this podcast.
Is it?
Yeah.
Then I
No
turned
That's what
way.
it's going to be. And you told me not to do
No,
it.
don't do it.
Yeah.
I didn't even
Come
think of that.
on.
I'm not kidding.
Are you
I was going to
serious?
watch a romantic comedy each week and then have, with a bunch of dudes and do it that way.
I didn't even
Fun.
I didn't know that.
It was like a guest. Or, no,
I
that's
like
fine.
that.
Yeah, but it's totally
Jared
fine.
stole it from you.
I didn't even know.
Yeah. But no, I remember distinctly being like, Jared, I'm thinking of doing the podcast. It's like me watching romantic comedies with guys and then doing a podcast. And he's like, no, that's a terrible idea.
That's not how I remember
And then he wrote
at
it in
all.
a note
and
in
he was
his
like,
phone.
He was writing notes. Like, what are you writing? He goes, it's my grocery list.
You
It's not
said
bad."
you want to do movies, and you were like, it's going to be Sean watches movies, and then my thought was...
I'm kidding, dude.
Okay.
But I didn't know. I don't think I told you, but that was
No,
what it was.
I but we did have a
It's-
conversation about this podcast. So
We did. You helped me big time.
I'm
You helped
like,
me.
I'm
This
like
is
red in the
Facebook
face.
all over
You
again.
helped me with the title of the podcast.
Yeah.
And no, I'm totally. But I don't think you stole the idea.
This is big drama happening live on Defend
absolutely
Your
not. That's
Movie.
not what I'm saying when I say that.
Let's defend your J train right now.
No, that's not what I'm not saying. I think
No, I
that
know,
in
I
any
know.
means. But what I'm saying is that's why I had you on because
Yeah.
you've watched a lot recently.
Well, I've done 500 Days of Summer, How to Lose a Guy in 10 Days, and Sex in the City, and they're all on my Instagram page. And I just, what I do is I just put on stories for the 15 seconds, and I find different scenes that I'm like, I'll have an issue with or that I like. And
Yeah.
it'll just me in the background, just be, saying.
Right,
Oh,
right,
so
right.
it's not a
things.
live cast of it?
No.
Okay,
I
gotcha.
did the end of Sex in the City. I didn't remember how long that fucking movie is. That's
very long.
That's the one thing.
It's
To a
very
perfect
long.
rom-com, it has to be an hour and a half. You cannot.
Yes, that's true.
Sex in the City, I know it was doing a lot of stuff for fans,
long
and it was
was
trying to like
that?
wrap up a lot of different things for each of the characters, but it was like a 2.5 hour. It felt every minute.
There's also a movie I think along the same lines, and it's not from a TV show, but it's called Definitely Maybe with Ryan Reynolds, and it's like 2 hours plus long, and it's
You got an hour and a half, knock it out. We're here to have fun.
Yeah.
It doesn't have, and like rom-com, we talked about one outside that it's pretty divisive, but people want like an ending to it. They want to know, like, did the girl get the guy or the guy get the girl? And
They
like,
well, not only just that, rom-com, most of your audiences for a rom-com, they want a nice, tight, neatly wrapped, happy ending.
yeah, the breakup.
they don't
That's why
want-
people don't like the breakup so
Yep.
much. It's
we
like
mentioned it outside because we mentioned on the podcast before. I think the breakup's a great movie.
Vince Vaughn, Jennifer
Wrong.
Aniston.
Wrong.
It has a lot. You know what the breakup has that is like
Nothing.
frustrating? Nothing. There's no redeeming anything.
That's not true.
It's not. It's everything I want in a movie that I should like in a movie, and it's unwatchable.
What didn't you like about it?
It's just like it's bad. Like it's
It's
just
not bad. It's almost like a real world based rom com because they own an apartment
It's
together.
really not funny.
It's like the base of the premise
It gets-
alone is more.
They're mean to each other.
They
Like,
get more. I think
it's-
the best part about the breakup and the reason it's tough for people to watch is they get in the most real fights you'll see in a rom com.
I have to rewatch it, I guess.
Like I don't know.
But
No, but
I,
stick to your guns
I
if you hate
actually
it.
just recently rewatched it.
oh, you really?
Like
How long
within the
ago?
last 6 months or whatever. It was
Oh.
on Netflix. I'm
Yeah.
like, this is just going to be enjoyable. And it's so long.
You know what it is?
It's
also
not enjoyable.
Vince Vaughn. It's like Vince Vaughn in his element to a T.
Yeah, but it's like cheesy.
It's not. He's funny in it. It's funny. I think that it's actually the opposite of like, you know how many rom-coms are fucking super cheesy? This one's
I just
actually.
think it had so much potential. I love the concept. The casting's great. And then, like, the dialogue is so bad. It's just like, and it drags. It really drags.
I don't know. I think that it's just like, I think it just kind of changed the genre a little bit, and it threw a little bit of like, it got a little dark. It was like a dark rom-com.
But I would love that if that were true.
But that's what it did because they didn't have.
This
you know
was
why?
just
You know,
a bad
To
movie.
be honest, I bet you know what it is. You don't like it because it didn't have a happy ending. I guarantee you.
No,
That's-
it's
that's
really not. I
exactly what
just
it is.
couldn't get through the movie, so it didn't have to do with the ending because I
There's a
had
million
to
things. You
keep
just said
coming back
great
to it.
casting. There's the scene, the opening scene with Vince Vaughn's really funny when he's getting the hot dogs for it and stuff like that. The scene where he's playing video games, that it brought back a classic swingers scene.
Yeah,
Vince Vaughn in video games.
Maybe it's just triggering boring to me.
The lemons, I enjoyed like the
Don't
lemons.
gaslight the fucking thing.
That lemons fight is like, to me, it's like that's more real than you get in a lot
There
of
you go.
rom-coms. Like I'm going, but it also like, I mean, this was like height of Vince Vaughn-dom. You know, like when it came out, like people were like, we wanted all the Vince Vaughn we could get. We wanted him being him.
Right.
So he is so him during that lemons fight. My baby wants lemons. Lemons what my baby gets.
Yeah,
and
my
then
baby wants
and then
what my baby gets.
well, baby wanted 12 lemons.
Yeah,
And
she's funny in it. Like,
she's good. She's
There
got.
are good moments to it. It's just I, for some reason, can't get through it, and I keep coming back. And then I'm
Michael,
like, I
the
can't.
brother with the acapella group, is really funny when they wake him up and then he kicks his ass. And then when he describes
All right.
why they kicked his ass, and he was like, he came flying at me. Like,
But I do agree. You know, when you were just explaining like why you were like, oh, this will be.
It's everything
This
I
will
would
be
ever
nice.
want in a movie. Like breakups, my favorite topic. Romantic comedies, yes. Jennifer Aniston and Vince Vaughn, love it. Here for it. And then for some reason, I'm trying to watch this movie on Netflix, and I cannot.
I do think, but
Get through it.
the way you were saying, like, oh, I'm gonna have like this is a fun. I'm gonna love this movie, and then you get into it. It's like there are like heavy fights where you're
but
just
they're
like, why
bad.
am I watching these people
it's
get
like
angry?
bad acting. It's like bad. Like it's like over dramatic writing. Like I don't know. It just isn't. I should think this is like the best movie.
I don't know.
I
I don't know if it is. Here's the thing about it. All right, Vince Vaughn. I think when he does Vince Vaughn, he's great. The minute they try to put Vince Vaughn in dramatic roles, it kind of falls apart sometimes, and that happens all the time. Like when he was in Psycho, that was like an abomination. What'd you say, Alex?
True Detective.
Right, I didn't even
Detective.
watch him in that, and yeah, he just can't. His thing is this sarcastic comedy. To be honest, as far as his dramatic acting goes, it's probably the best that he's done when he's yelling at her and he leaves or whatever the fuck.
But you look at another like rom-com, like Wedding Crashers. You could consider that a rom-com. You know, like
It's absolutely
that,
rom-com.
like,
One of the
best movies
He
ever.
is side character in that. Like his whole love story, like it kind of comes together, and you're like, oh, I could see. I think you want like these crazy beginning. I think with any rom-com, like if you want to bring it back to the original thing, where it's like
Yes.
any rom-com, you want this like crazy beginning to be like, oh, wait a minute, people could meet that way. And they're, you know, like Vince Vaughn meets this chick on the beach. He's going to fuck her. He's going to be whatever. And she says she's a virgin. And then all of a sudden they are in this like crazy sex thing where they just fit.
Yeah,
Yeah. And then
So
you're like, you
good.
fun with that. And then the Owen Wilson, like, you know, storyline where you're just like, he's basically obsessed with closing this wedding
This
crash.
is another perfect
yeah,
cast,
but he
this
falls.
movie.
He falls in love with her,
And he falls
the
in
Vince
love with
Vaughn
her.
thing, you're not supposed to think he falls in love at first, but he ends up falling.
But that's like the fun of like a rom-com where you're like you're going along with these people and you're like, okay, here's the heist, and the heist turns into love.
Well, that's the other thing is this. The elements do matter a lot. Like the casting is a huge part. We can talk about that because, and also on the way here, I go, we're going to talk about what makes a great rom-com, and then right away, Farah was like, Rachel McAdams. And it's
Yeah.
true, because I remember watching Wedding Crashers and be like, I love Rachel McAdams. I'm in love with her. I'm
Yeah.
in love with Rachel McAdams in Wedding Crashers.
You love that she's like negative about weddings, and then he's like, yeah, a lot of that stuff's not going to work for you. Then it goes and bombs on the speech, and,
Yeah.
and you're like, oh, they learned from each other here. You know,
It is
like,
funny how we've only talked about a few movies, but I'm noticing the trend of like calling out the other person. It's so funny.
Yeah,
Like, I
well,
guess
there's
that
a
doesn't
real-
really happen in movies that much.
well, there's a
What are you talking
reality
about?
to
Wait,
it.
hold on. What do you mean calling on the other person?
In romantic comedies, it seems to be a common trope where they're like, I'm going to call you out for who you are. Or like, I'm
Oh.
going to be different about this. I don't care about this. But then they get changed. That's where
yeah.
the fun comes in.
Yeah, I mean, they're like the, you know, all these like
But I don't
romantic
know if they
comedies
always
start
did
with
that,
like,
because I think for a while rom-coms in like the 80s, like all right, what do you have? Like the mega one would have to be when Harry Met Sally, I guess, right? Wasn't that like almost like the grandfather of all rom-coms?
I've never seen it.
It's good. It's
Wow.
really good.
Yeah, this is one
But
I get really into
Kind
like
of
the
a
bad
thinker.
90s ones. Is it?
Well, no, it's a little bit more. See, the thing about when Harry Met Sally is the same
They
kind of thing.
used
Like
to have more.
they used to have more. When Harry Met Sally has a dramatic element to it. Like
Yeah.
it's not just it's a rom-com that like they're these friends. They're like they hate each other first, and then they become really good friends, and then they realize they're in love with each other, and then that goes haywire. It goes back and forth. It spans like 20 years of this friendship
Yeah.
between these two people. But to be honest, it kind of has. If you watch When Harry Met Sally and you watch the breakup, It's not the same plot wise by any means, but like it's not all like cutesy fun and games and like tropes like you're saying with like I'm gonna call you out on your shit.
No,
but it is
right.
though, like he calls her out, and When Harry Met Sally, that does happen. It does happen, but not in all of them. If you watch Along Came Polly, which is the other one, remember Along Came Polly with Jennifer Aniston and Ben Stiller?
It's a great movie. I love that movie.
That's a different kind of rom-com where it's like he's really into the girl and she's exciting, and he doesn't call her out. He's more like he wants to keep up. That's the whole point of that one.
It's the idea that people can surprise you.
People can surprise you, or you can surprise yourself, like Ben
Surprise
Stiller in that
yourself.
movie.
You've Got Mail. That was one of the.
I just
there you
taped
go,
You've
that's-
Got Mail to do a Dudes Watching Rom-Coms. And
Oh, yeah?
my favorite part about some of these movies, like the rom-coms, I don't know if we've had like what's the most recent
Did you
rom-com?
say you just taped it?
Like DVR.
Please say DVR. This is
Taped it.
1986.
Yeah. So
Oh, it was on
The
Channel
most
11.
recent
I
rom-com.
threw in the
I did
VCR.
see one. I did see one recently.
What?
And I was like, that's a great recent.
I like
rom-com
going back
that
and
came out.
watching the old ones just because you see like what would be allowed today, what would not be allowed today.
Sure.
Like I do think like You've Got Mail it's so interesting to watch because
That's like 98, I think.
the best part about that movie is they're like we're ahead of it. We're doing internet
Yes.
dating.
Oh my God. It's so
we're
fucking
way
funny.
ahead.
Yeah.
This is the future, baby.
They're like, you've
And
got
that-
mail with
and
a
it lasted.
picture of the envelope,
Just
like
how-
coming from AOL.
It's been
just
a
how
commercial
quickly
for AOL.
the future has become the past. Just like how quickly we aged
that
out of
lasts.
all of that dating stuff.
Love
Like,
Simon. That's what I recently saw. That
Love
was like
Simon.
a really fun rom-com.
what's that one?
It's the one about a gay teenage boy. And they
Okay.
really just like went for it with the format
Okay.
of like a rom-com. It was fun. Just saying.
So what did they do? Like does he have the meet with the guy?
There's a mystery. There's messages. There's emails.
Oh, I thought that movie was
there's-
about him coming out of the closet.
No, it's like a romantic comedy.
Oh, okay. Because I remember watching the commercial for that movie and being like, wouldn't most high schools now, like depending on where you are, wouldn't care that the kid was gay? Like I thought that was
Basically,
it was all
what they
about.
did was like your classic romantic comedy high school movie,
Mm-hmm.
but with a gay, like.
So you were a hero for seeing it.
Oh yes, I really
The only difference is we saved.
it was just a beautiful portrayal of.
But it was but you're saying the one twist is that he was a gay dude. So it was like
Not
it was
the
your pretty-
twist, but that was a new thing. There hadn't been a movie like that before. But they play like it was just the classic romantic comedy setup.
Okay.
We were saying, have any come out recently? That one.
Oh yeah, and there's tons that still come out.
What was
And,
another one that recently came out? I feel like I've seen them if they've come out.
Anything popping up? That's like kind of new.
That
Did it
one
have
did.
the doofy friend?
Yes.
That's
yes.
my favorite character on all romantic comedies is the friend who just can't get it the fuck together. Like that friend
Oh
is
my God, that
so
was great.
funny to me. Like this idea that you are like your life is just like humming along and you're just dealing with this one person that you just roll your eyes at. Like that friend never is like, hey, why don't you fucking help me out? The friend never can get it together. The friend is always just like like the biggest loser. No one has any care for their lives.
The side friend should be like, hey, why is it always about you?
Yeah. Hey, I got some dating stuff every now and again. The friend cares so much about the person's life.
Well, it's a great one of these, and I don't know if you guys have seen it. I think it might have been like kind of independent. It's Michael Showalter. It's about the focus of the movie is about the guy who gets left at the altar. He's the main character. It's called The Baxter. And he plays the guy. He gets left at the altar, and it's about his love life after he gets left at the altar. It came out like a bunch of years ago, but it's a genius
I remember the
idea.
name, yeah.
It was decent. It wasn't amazing, but it was decent. But I love that because that's one of those things. It's breaking the fourth wall of like.
Yeah.
Normally, it's a thing where the guy shows up at the end, and there's this big romantic thing, and you only are rooting for the two people that you want us to get together. But then you forget there's a guy left there.
Yeah.
Who is not
It's like
getting married.
It's like a henchman dying in like Star Wars. Like when is that guy's funeral? funeral happen?
Yeah, and it's also
Where's that guy's family?
It's also changed over time. 'Cause I feel like back in the day with those, the guy was always the asshole. Like look at the Titanic, how Titanic is, and that was the '90s. It came out. They made what's his name, Billy Zane. They made him half an asshole, right?
Yeah.
But now they have it. Like if you look at Sweet Home Alabama, that's a good rom-com. That's a really good one. I like that movie a lot.
I like that one.
Sweet Home Alabama. It's Patrick Dempsey, and he's actually a good guy,
good dude.
So and they address that in it, and then at the end they show him with his new wife like a year later, or whatever it is. But you're kind of like, oh shit, you feel bad for Patrick Dempsey, and it's also they did a good idea because they casted somebody that you know already, like Patrick Dempsey. It's like I know him from growing up in Can't Buy Me Love, so I'm like, oh, this guy just keeps getting shitted on every
finally
love movie
they
that he
redeemed
has.
him.
Yeah, I think they had him in there because of like ER, or whatever. Grey's Anatomy when he was in that or whatever it was, but. It's true. They have all these tropes that they try to break sometimes, and sometimes it works out, and sometimes it doesn't.
Well, I watched one recently with Reese Witherspoon where she had the 3 dudes stay at her house. That was kind of new.
Oh, yeah, that's
I didn't see that one. I just saw the trailer, and I was like, I do not want to see that.
I saw it on a plane, and it was like,
it's like
really bad. Yeah,
what is
it
like,
looks horrible.
They help her get her life back together or something.
It's
But like she fucks all of them.
It's like
No,
she
does
fucks
she?
one, or she's like gets with
She
one of them.
definitely does.
It's like Stella got her groove back with like her,
boys.
yeah, like with like 3 22-year-old screenwriters that are like moved in with her. But the thing is, what I love about a romantic comedy is they never take into account how little this matters in the world. Like I love that. Like that movie specifically.
Well, you need it to be the only thing.
The only thing that matters.
Yeah, no,
and
you have to.
It's
not a political thing.
Well, no, of course not. But it's so funny in this movie. Reese Witherspoon, she has to move back from New York with her kids, and she has to move in with her mom. And you're like, oh, that would suck to move in here with her mom. And then you find out her dad was like one of the most famous screenwriters of all time, and they live on this like compound. And then like all of a sudden, these 3 kids, they find them, they somehow move into the house, and they're like, we're screenwriters too. You're the famous so and so's daughter,
God.
and they're watching a movie on the lawn. You're like, oh, like they're not going into like
That sounds really weird.
That's called. We want to save on the budget and film in L.A.
Yeah,
I don't like that at
they
all.
didn't say, it's like not like she's going on food stamps because her husband left her. Like, like
Yeah,
it's like,
that's a good point to make. It's like if you really go, hey, you'll be fine. Like it's one of those kind of things where it's like if the whole thing that happens in this movie never happened to you, yeah, you're a multi-millionaire. You'll be fine.
Sex and the City, the movie, really is the one that like
I looked it up. It's 2.5 hours.
2.5 hours. It's crazy long.
Unbelievable.
I had to do
That's
it.
an
was that
unbelievable length.
Yeah,
That's ridiculous.
And a lot of that movie, like you're watching Carrie just like really act like an animal.
Traumatic,
Like,
honestly. I'm traumatized by that movie.
She's like they and
Why,
she also
she's like a piece of shit in the movie?
well, she just like gets carried away and like she literally carried away.
Carried away.
It was like the slogan. I feel like
They move away,
Get
like
carried
they move
away.
into like this apartment, and she's like, "I'll take it." Like, and it's like this $1 billion apartment in New York City, and then
Love
like
it.
he surprises her with a closet, and she was like, "For me?" And like just this amazing closet that
Yes,
like,
I
and then,
loved every moment of this.
And that is rom-com, but it's also like
That's why I love rom-coms. There's never
one
a moment
thing.
they're like, listen, Ethiopia people are starving, but your closet's 7,000 square feet.
It's a break.
Like,
It's a break from that. It's a break
love
from
it.
that. And the minute that you start to bring that stuff in there, it's like, oh, then come on, get the fuck out of here.
Yeah. We're
Get
gonna
over
have fun.
yourself.
Well,
That's
then
not what we're here for.
Dude, like, I'd love to have this closet, but we could house like 3 Syrian refugees in this closet.
so ridiculous.
And it's like, no, that's not going to happen. And also,
No, we want to be hanging with Carrie, and we want to go to
And
Cabo
that
and watch her
movie-
not be able to feed herself. 'cause
that movie
she's
was
so
a
upset.
payoff for everybody to watch the series, to watch her like
Sure.
to watch like apartment porn, basically. Like,
Well, that's
like,
a lot of these too. Like Nancy Meyers movies, like that's the whole kitchen porn came from that. Like all those kitchens in there, like were like unfucking believable.
What's Nancy Meyers movies? Like, which ones? Like,
As Good as It Gets. Something's Got to Give. I think this was her last one. Was the Reese Witherspoon one? I'm not positive.
oh, is that what it's based on? Kitchens?
No, but they always congregate around these kitchens in these
And they're
movies.
gigantic, amazing,
Amazing, and they call it kitchen porn. Like
Yeah.
they're always cooking. Like there's a.
I don't get down with kitchen porn.
You don't get down with that at all. I
No,
love it.
because
I'm watching. I'm
makes me
like
hungry.
Viking stoves.
No, it makes me hungry. So that's the only kind of like home reality I stay away from.
So you just fast
Because
forward
then I
through those
just
scenes.
like get really hungry. I won't fast forward, but I don't get the porn element that people.
Oh, I watch these. I'm
after.
like, and they have like the brass cutlery
I
and
do-
the
it
pans,
is
and you're
nice.
like, oh my god, this is how people should be living.
Yeah.
Island in the kitchen.
That's part of the romantic comedy world, though, is that there's fantasy.
Yes.
All of it's
like
fantasy.
big.
Yeah.
But then people will switch it up. Like they do every different type. Like they have that one that's like the zombie one where there's two zombies that are in love with each other, or whatever it is. And they have-
What was that one?
I forget what it's called. I didn't even see it. I had no interest in seeing it.
Do you need a payoff from a romantic comedy? Do you need them to get together?
I need it. I actually like more when it's different. I like that's why I think I like the breakup because I'm like it's different enough.
I
Yeah.
I'm not
don't
saying
mind
it's the
them
best.
not getting together at the end.
I'm not
That
saying it's
doesn't
the. I'm not
bother
saying
me.
it's the best one ever. Like one of the one is, and it's not romantic comedy, but it's like I always bring it back to the best relationship movie I've ever seen is Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind. That movie is so cool. I love it. And why? What's the matter?
I was just thinking about how, like, the movies we've brought up the most.
Oh, that's
This
one of
is
them.
Definitely one.
But
of
when
them.
this topic comes up, we bring it up. All right. Well, I'll be short with it.
No,
but
I like it. It's
kind
just
of it's
cute.
kind of funny. So that's to my point. Like I like when they do like different type stuff.
You like more dramatic ones. That's more dramatic.
That's more dramatic, I guess. Yeah, but I love Sweet Home Alabama. I watched it. There's that payoff scene where she thinks he's like still a deadbeat, and then she goes and finds out he's been blowing glass and he has his own store. And I was late to spots one night because I had to go. I had to watch it. I had to watch that part where like she literally goes to the store and she sees him and she's like, "What?"
Well, it's so funny that like girls think like guys could never get any of these movies, but the devices are just so perfect. It's like junk food. Like you're like,
I know.
can't
I don't
stop
get how
eating
people
this.
don't like it.
It's. I mean,
I wish there were more made too. I think it's lacking.
I think there was more made
People
in the
don't
90s
make
than there
them
are
now.
now.
Yeah.
But here's the thing. The reason for that is because if they're going to make them now, they're going to make it onto Netflix. Like, the way
Right.
everything's changing. So the only things going to the theaters are movies that are going to make them $1 billion
Right.
because they put them on the theaters. So that's probably part of the reason, I'm
Yeah,
guessing.
definitely.
Just like Richard Gere is fucked because the movies he used to make in the 90s, that's done with.
If you look at Trainwreck, like that's a great. I really like that as a romantic comedy. Like Trainwreck.
Yeah.
Kinda,
I
like,
just
took
saw
it-
I Feel Pretty too.
I didn't see it. Is it good?
It's a
You like
romantic
it?
comedy.
Is it funny?
Yeah.
I have heard both about I Feel Pretty. Trainwreck, I like Trainwreck, but I like other ones better, you know?
What I liked about
forget
what I liked about
Trainwreck.
Trainwreck is that like it like I like the way that she was like in this like she kind of had like this like the whole character of her was like kind of fucked up. You know, with the dad and stuff, and
Yeah.
you're like, oh,
Well, I
she
think
has
it's
like
pretty
mental health
autobiographical.
issues. Like this
Yeah,
person
it's
is
pretty auto- I think-
drinking
I
away
think-
her pain, and then like you see her going through that with another person, and it's like this. And sometimes, you know, what I liked about that movie is like I think that's kind of the change that was like that people got amped up for. Like, oh, I'm gonna watch someone that's a little bit more 3-dimensional like me that has like you know
Right.
anxiety issues and issues with
Yeah.
their parents, sick and
Well, I
all that
think-
stuff, and like and is trying to have a relationship, but also having those other things get in the way. Like that's a fun thing.
I think that's what happened. I think what happened was in the 90s you had a bunch of these, some of these hokey ones. You had some of these ones that were just like very like cookie cutter romantic comedies. And I think along the lines they became punchlines on sketch shows and
Sure.
and all these different things. So then they went, all right, how can we make these different? And then that's when the other ones come out. Like
I mean,
your-
the holes you could poke in some of these, like the false expectations that it brings up. Like I watched, there's another great one is Never Been Kissed. Is really like
it's
that's the
great.
best.
that is a wild
Vartan.
one that you
big
can
Michael Vartan.
I want to
fan.
rewatch that. I want to rewatch When Harry
rewatch it,
Met
but
Sally now too.
You have to rewatch Never Been Kissed, but I don't know if it's possible to watch it as like any type of. You have to be the least cynical person.
There were such
in the
good
entire,
movies at that time.
But
She's All That.
She's all that is the one that gets made fun of with like pull out the ponytail. It's like whoa,
Yeah,
look
because
at
they
this
all
hottie.
are funny. Like in
Never Been Kissed,
that-
especially though the fact that they are adults going back to high school, like
Yeah,
and
it's so insane.
It's so crazy. And then they, what's his name?
Yeah, it's like you look 40.
the dude goes back to play baseball. And
David Arquette.
David Arquette is literally like should have been thrown in jail. And the police should have
he,
been
like-
waiting for him at his home.
Wasn't he sleeping with like a 16-year-old in the movie?
Well,
Or,
the sex doesn't even exist in these movies. That's the thing. When they're
Yeah.
high school,
Yeah.
they're all
Yes.
eunuchs. Like they don't have
Yeah.
any private parts.
And when she brings it up, he's like, we'll see.
Yeah, but then even crazier because they kind of have this like Trojan horse of crazy, and you've got Never Been Kissed, because the idea that she's like, okay, she leaves in a huff, and then she writes her big piece that goes in the paper, okay, and it's her big piece ends with, and if you want to kiss me, you'll be at the pitcher's mound at 8 o'clock tonight. And this dude, who's the teacher at the school, in a span of like 24 hours, has to get over the fact that one of his students in the high school is now 25, and she wants to kiss him for her first kiss, and he's got to be like on fucking board.
Oh my God.
Can you imagine being in his shoes where you're like, no, I don't want to fucking have to date this chick now. Like, if he goes and kisses, if he doesn't kiss her, he's an animal. How could you not be in for this romantic thing? If he does kiss her, he is engaged to be married at that point because he's got to date her. There's no way. It's like, and a lot of these
He's locked in,
and it's like, oh my God, I can't believe they were kids. They tried to be kids in high school, and it's like, oh no, what about this dude that now has to fucking be with a girl, a worse than a virgin.
There's also a really
never been kissed.
A child.
There's a really weird scene in this movie where after she blows the whistle and her article comes out, and then David Arquette loses his scholarship to play baseball. He was just going to start over as a high schooler.
Yeah.
And then what happens is she goes back home. David Arquette, her brother, is waiting for her outside her house.
Yes.
And he goes, hey, Joe. Her name is Josie. He's like, I wanted to see if you were okay. And she goes, really? He goes, no. Not really, Josie. Not really. You ruined my life. But the way
you ruined that fucking.
Oh my God.
You ruined that sweet 16-year-old ass I was about to get.
But it's the weirdest scene.
Weird.
He didn't act it right. He goes, no. The way he does it, like, it's not like he's incredulous at all. He's just like, no, not really, Josie. Not really. I'm like, this is the weirdest acting I've ever seen in my life.
I love it. That movie's a fun. That's why I like
That's
them.
one of those movies it's on TV and you leave it on.
You can't get away from it. Like that, you've got mail. I kind of get. Sleepless in Seattle's another one where you're like,
I need to see that again.
You watch it and you're like, I can't believe a world existed like this. Because now with like dating today, like the ability to look someone up,
it's more innocent. Like you said, there's almost like sex isn't involved till the end of any of these movies.
No one even thinks about sex. No one thinks of the idea of
there
like,
hasn't been, and I'm sure it's coming. Like the app romantic comedy movie.
There was the guy that what's his name? Miles Teller kind of did one about last night. Wasn't that kind of?
I didn't see it.
Okay,
I think that was kind of a new age
either.
version. But it keeps changing. Like, you know, if you look at dating 10 years ago versus dating now, like that's even like a different world. Like the idea that like
my mom was
Yeah.
telling me it's like that her friend there were like websites that you would go on.
Yeah.
Like.
I was on those websites. Like
what were they called again? Because I remember I'd like find my teacher on them or something. Like,
you could have a website. I mean, there were as many. The website world
what was
back
popular?
then.
Like there was one that
Match.com.
Match.com, Plenty of Fish. Those were all like websites before there were even swipers.
Right.
You know, like
I know.
JDate was big. You know, like they all have now evolved into the phone version. But it's interesting that like you can't keep up with dating with it. You have to be every 5 years there should be a rom-com.
Right.
Like every 5 years there should be the zeitgeisty
Maybe
thing.
people have realized though it's gonna be
It should be instructional.
What is the word for that?
What?
It's just it's not going to be relevant in like 2
Yeah.
years, so they don't
that's
bother
why,
making it.
You've Got Mail is so crazy, and then if you
so
watch,
good, though.
You've Got
It's
Mail,
a time capsule.
It's good. I'm just saying, like it's just if you think it's like when you say these things out loud, you're like he shows up to the restaurant with the rose. And she has the rose too, and they're gonna meet up for the fight time. And then he sees it's her, and he puts away the rose, and they have a whole conversation.
It's
not
really
knowing
too
that
much.
each other is each other. And it's kind of like a little
It's
bit
manipulative.
It's a misogynist scene
it's
a little bit because
it's-
she's doofy. She doesn't know what the fuck's going on, and he realizes
It's also an
It's
idea that can't
creepy.
really be done anymore.
can't be done.
Yeah.
You have looked up these people. Like I mean,
I'm an immediate Googler.
you Google. I mean, Instagram, Google. And some people are even. We're at the point now with dating where people are putting their Instagram handles in their profile, just being like,
Oh, yeah.
here it is."
And
Get
you
at
know
me.
what? I used to be really like keep it separate, but now sometimes like I'll just go straight for the Instagram because then it's just like, yeah, this is me.
Yeah.
So we can get a real quick
I don't
up to
want
date without
anyone
having to explain everything.
I don't want to have anyone show up that doesn't want to be there in the first place.
Right.
And that's
I didn't date for 10 years, and now I'm back into it, and I'm getting used to the idea of like, it's like, oh, sometimes you get ghosted, and then that's it. Even after you talk to somebody for a little while, and
I mean, 99% of the time, like. I don't know.
no, a ton of the time. I mean, at different levels. I mean, like,
so
yeah,
rare. I'm
yeah.
really gonna follow through to meet up with someone.
Yeah, but back in the day, it would have been like you would have hung out, and they would have found out that way. It's
I
like,
mean, a lot of the people now, like I even like with the podcast, a lot of people write in with their like advice questions. Like I'm always like, for people that are like newly in, I'm like, go to a bar, just like talk to people.
Yeah,
the apps are kind of a crutch that I think
it's going to come full
start.
circle. I think they're going to get rid of. People are going to stop using them, and they're just going to go out again.
I don't think people are going to stop using.
I think
them.
when people start using one, when women stop using them.
Because
that's the only
it's
way.
not going to happen
well, yeah,
because it's like
off.
the only way you can meet people like outside
It's
your
really
circle.
not, though. You can meet them the same way you can always meet them, but people just don't want to.
Yeah, I mean,
I met my ex. We met at a bar, and it worked, and it was great.
No, I think that's like a lot of the times the swiping and all the dating apps are like it's too much for people.
I don't know. I
it's
think
too many people to keep up with. It's too many people to be turned down by. It's too many people to be said yes by. The matches become just getting matches and playing the game. And a lot of the times, like people that get out of relationships, they're used to talking to someone they're used to talking to. So they're not even used to talking to like a stranger. We talk to strangers every night. So a lot of these people, you got to say, hey, you got to go swing and a miss at a bar.
Yeah.
Just to see what that feels
You
like.
could say, to bring it full circle, romantic comedies have hurt the cause because
Yeah.
if you watch enough of them, you're like, this is what I want, and then nothing's ever good enough.
Well,
so you go to a bar, you're like, not good enough, and then you're swiping right like a maniac, not good enough, not good enough, not good enough. I want my romantic comedy.
Well, a romantic comedy today would would be a little bit more boring. Like, who even leaves the house to meet anybody at this point? You'd have the guy sitting on the toilet,
I think that
swiping,
does sound fun.
and then you have like going back and forth over text, and then you're like, should I do this? I looked them up. Do I believe in this person? Maybe I'll delete the app. Then you delete the app, and you don't end up following up. And then a week later, you re-download the app, and you're
the
like,
whole
hey,
movie.
maybe, yeah. And that's the whole movie is you just coming back to the person, being like, hey, I know we matched like a month ago, but maybe we should talk again. And we kind of had this weird connection, but it wasn't really a connection, not enough to get us to go on a date. So it would kind of all happen over the phone.
I just thought of a good idea for a movie.
Yeah.
Almost like that with that same kind of idea.
Yeah.
Let's do this before we go. We gotta get out of here soon. Let's think of instead of the top 3 reasons why you're defending a movie, top 3 things you need in a rom-com to make it good. Now, I want to devote one of them. I think we should just devote one of them to Rachel McAdams, like Farah said on the way here. You have Rachel McAdams in your movie, I will watch
Me
it.
too. I
can't
will
wait
watch
for
any movie she's
Divorcee
in.
back in the dating app game, Rachel McAdams.
Can't wait. Can't
She's
wait.
going to
She'll
age
be
into
perfect.
a new rom-com. Doofy friend is so important.
Doofy friend.
Love Doofy friend. I love when both the people have Doofy friends and they get together.
Yes.
To create
more couples.
To create a King Doof.
Yes.
I love that concept. That happens in some movies.
Doofy friend's funny because what they're doing when they show you both of them, they're going, now we're concentrating on the attractive people.
Yes.
But you should know.
The uglies can do it too.
So Doofy friend, Rachel McAdams, might be more than 3. And then
meet cute. The way they meet, I need them to meet in a weird way. I love when they meet like off, like also starting at hatred. They start at hatred is a fun one.
The kids, it actually was a great when they introduced that. That's a great idea because
starting at hatred, they could never happen, and you're like, okay, whoever hates each other the most are gonna fuck.
Yeah, there's no movie. Nobody's like, I love that movie where they love each other in the beginning and they love each other at the end.
Yeah, well, I mean, that's the breakup.
Oh, you're right.
That's the whole
no,
thing.
wait, no, it's not the breakup. The breakup.
He meets her at the game, and then they get together, right?
Yeah, well, they love each other in the beginning, and at the end, they're kind of like it's kind of.
Well, then they have that one. So I read that the breakup, they had that ending redone because it ended with them just being gone. And then they have that they
because
see each
people
other at
got
the
so mad about it,
Yeah,
right?
and they saw each other so they added the scene
They leave
and
it
of
open-ended.
seeing them at the game and like maybe.
Yeah.
Like,
because I think they originally have it where they already moved on, right?
I'm
Like,
gonna rewatch this and I'm gonna Instagram
it's
it.
great. I think the reason I'm telling you, I'm not saying you have to have them get together, but it does. That's the only uneasy feeling that it instills because it's funny and it might be a little bit too long. Maybe it's not the best thing ever, but it's really, really funny.
it's
It
not.
really
it also
good.
took a chance at doing something that we hadn't seen before. It's like starting at we're starting
And
at
dealing
the
with the
breakup.
breakup. It was more real life
destroyed
based.
it.
I think that's for my third one. For as far as what makes a good one, now it's like blow me away. It's one of those things where blooming me away.
Blooming.
To call back to that, blow me away. Show me something that breaks the romantic comedy trope.
Well, you know what the one was that was most recent was the one with Steve Carell and Ryan Gosling. That was kind of an interesting one.
It was great.
Some
What was
people
that?
despise that movie, and I don't
God.
understand
What
it.
was it?
Crazy
movie?
Stupid Love.
Crazy, yeah.
It's a great movie, and it's got Ryan Gosling. He's great in it. And it's
The twist
It's the
is
La La Land.
great.
People. The twist is really great.
I thought that was great. People were like, "Oh, it's bullshit."
Also,
No, I loved it.
If you tell me you watched that movie and you saw that coming, I don't believe you.
How could you see that coming?
Yeah, and it's not even, and it's the twist doesn't even. Well, actually, it is a big part of the movie.
Huge.
It's huge, but you do not. The amount of times you see twists coming, when that happened, I was like,
I didn't see that one.
Holy shit!
That was my I See Dead People.
Yeah. Well, let's end there. Thank you so much for doing this, Jim.
Great to be
Jared.
here.
What would you
Always a
like to
pleasure.
plug, my friend, besides the podcast? Or you
I
can-
love Instagram at Jared Freid on Instagram. I'm a huge fan of that platform.
Awesome, and Farah, would you like to plug anything?
I'm on Instagram also, okay, at Farah Brooke.
And I am as well. I'm on Twitter and Instagram. How about that? Check
Oh
me.
yeah, please follow me on Twitter. I'm trying to double my Twitter followers.
I'm-
It's very sad.
Good luck.
I'm at
That app is
Let me
over.
plug my stuff.
Sorry.
I'm at Shawnee Time on Twitter and Instagram.
All right, fine.
Fucking
I'll
guy.
double my Instagram.
All right, at Farah Brooke and at JTrain.
On
And
Instagram at
comment
Jared
and say
Freid.
hi.
On Instagram, you're at Jared Freid.
Yeah.
Oh, you're making it confusing now.
I had to switch
Thank
up.
you to Showbiz
Brand
Studios for letting us do this. Alex, he has a YouTube page. He has an iTunes page. That's it. And we'll see you next week. And we'll try to get you bonus content soon. Bye-bye.
No, we won't. Tell them the truth,
I
Sean.
did
There's
that.
no bonus content.
I did that.
We're ending our.